Hi everyone, good afternoon. I'd like to welcome you all to today's webinar. I am Anushka Mathur and I'll be your host for this session. We are really glad to have you here with us. Today's topic is enhancing threat protection through immersive security briefing while improving delivery efficiency using DevOps automation and CI/CD. Before we begin, let me quickly walk you through what we'll be covering today. We'll start with understanding threat protection and how tools like Microsoft Intune, Microsoft Defender, and Microsoft 365 Security help organizations stay protected. Then we'll move on to how we can enhance delivery efficiency with DevOps automation and CI/CD. And finally, we'll have a Q&A session where you can ask your questions with us. So feel free to drop your questions in the chat anytime during the session. Today we are joined by Mr. Shrey Sharma and Ms. Manasvi Mathur, who will be taking the session forward from here. I'd like to invite Manasvi Mathur to take the session forward. Over to you, Manasvi.
Thank you, Anushka, for the powerful introduction. Welcome, everyone, and thank you for joining today's security immersion briefing. My name is Manasvi, and over the next hour, we'll walk you through how today's threat landscape is evolving and what that means for small and mid sized organizations like yours. This session is designed to be practical, not theoretical. We'll look at real attacks, real advisories, and real outcomes, then show you how Microsoft Security helps organizations defend themselves with the resources they already have. Today is about understanding those risks and learning how to reduce exposure without complexity. So, here's what we will cover today. First, we'll look at the key security challenges facing small and mid marketing enterprises today. Then, we'll talk about how Microsoft helps address those challenges, especially when teams are short on time and people. And at last, we'll walk you through Microsoft security in action using real world examples and attack scenarios. The goal is that you will leave today with a clear understanding of today's risk and a practical solution which is Microsoft providing for the security risk. Let's start with what we are seeing globally across the threat landscape. There are four major trends shaping modern security risk. First, staffing shortages. There simply aren't enough skilled security professionals, and attackers know this. Gaps in coverage create opportunities. Second, attacks are becoming more complex and more dangerous. This isn't just about malware anymore. Today's attacks involve identities, cloud services, applications, and data. Third, ransomware attacks are increasing, but interestingly, successful breaches are declining. This tells us that good security hygiene actually works. And arguably the most important technical debt, legacy systems, outdated configurations, forgotten applications, and unmanaged devices create invisible weaknesses. Attackers don't go through the front door, they find what you didn't know existed. A key takeaway: you can't protect what you can't see. Modern security requires not just tools, but visibly integration and automation. So now let's zoom in on the mid market specifically. Nearly half of all cyber breaches impact organizations with fewer than 1,000 employees. This alone should challenge the idea that we are too small to be targeted. Phishing remains one of the most effective attack methods. On average, users fall for phishing emails in under 60 seconds. That is less time than it takes most security team to even see an alert. And insider related incidents, both malicious and accidental, account for 1 in 5 data security incidents. The financial impact is staggering. By 2025, global crime costs are expected to reach $10.5 trillion. dollars. The message is clear. Mid market organizations face the same threats as large enterprises, but with fewer resources. That gap is exactly what attackers exploit. Threats today are faster, larger, and more sophisticated than even before. From a speed perspective, attackers can access private data within just over 1 hour after a phishing click. From a sophistication perspective, Microsoft now tracks over 300 threat actor groups, up significantly year over year. And from a scale perspective, we see thousands of password attacks every second. This isn't hypothetical. This is happening every day across organizations of all sizes. The cost of inaction is no longer acceptable. Security is no longer about stopping every attack. It is about reducing blast radius when attacks inevitably occur. We all are facing the same challenges. These challenges aren't isolated, we are all facing them. On average, Microsoft sees 345 million attacks per day across customers. Cybercrime is projected to cost $24 trillion globally by 2027. We are no longer just defending against random attackers, we are actually facing nation state actors, ransomware groups, and financially motivated criminal networks. Groups like Midnight Blizzard, Volt Typhoon, and Crimson Sandstorm represent highly skilled and persistent advisories. This changes the mindset entirely. Security incidents are no longer a question of it, but how quickly can you detect and respond it? Attackers are not standing still, and neither is technology. Today, advisories actively use AI to generate malware, discover vulnerabilities, craft phishing campaigns, and even create deepfake emails and voice messages. AI enables attackers to operate faster, cheaper, and at scale. But attackers aren't just using AI, they are also using attacking AI systems themselves. Defenders must evolve at the same pace. This is why modern security must also be AI driven, not manual. One of the most important mindset shifts in security is this. Attackers don't think in silos, they think in graphs. A single phishing email can lead to credential theft, lateral movement, privilege escalation, data exfiltration, and ransomware deployment. These steps cross email, endpoint identity system, applications, data, and cloud workloads. If your defenses are siloed, attackers will move through the gaps. This is why integrated defense across the entire digital estate is no longer optional. Attacks now happen in minutes and hours, not days. Security teams are overwhelmed with alerts operating across disconnected tools and struggling with limited time and staff. This is why security teams need a force multiplier. Automation and AI aren't about replacing people, they're about letting skilled professionals focus on what matters most. Without this multiplier, attackers will always be faster. Let's take a quick look at a specific threat actor to see how these trends might impact a typical organization. So, this is Octotempest, a financially motivated cyber criminal group that has been observed targeting organization with varying objectives depending on the target, including conducting SIM swaps, stealing cryptocurrency, or exfiltrating data prior to extortion or ransomware operations. Octotempest was initially seen in early 22, targeting mobile telecommunication and business process outsourcing organizations to initiate phone number ports. Octotempest monetized their intrusions in 2022 by selling SIM swaps to other criminals and performing account takeovers of high net worth individuals to steal their cryptocurrency. So, in late 2022 to early 2023, Octotempest expanded their targeting to include cable telecommunication, email, and technology organization. During this period, Octotempest started monetizing intrusions by extorting victim organization for a data stolen during their intrusion operation, and even in some cases, even resorting them to physical threats. In mid 2023, Octotempest became an affiliate of ALPHV Black Cat, a human operated ransomware as a service operation, and initial victims were extorted for data theft using ALPHP collection leak site. This is notably in that historically VMware EXCI servers. Looking at the attack chain, we can see that leverages their expertise in MFA tampering to steal their credentials through a password reset using one of their own phone numbers. After logging in, they begin their reconnaissance and start accessing files. Fortunately, these actions triggered an alert, and in-depth understanding of this threat actor allowed Defender to flag these activities as a possible Octotempest related sign-in. With 99.99% of confidence with this identification, the Microsoft Defender experts for XDR team, the system can trigger disruption and stop the attackers in progress. This attack shows the importance of being responsive to active threats in environment. Even with MFA enabled, the threat actor was able to gain entry. Sure, more fish resistant forms of MFA might have stopped the initial intrusion, but the most secure MFA for every user in the organization isn't always the reality. No defense is absolute. Being able to respond to the threats in real time is critical. Coordinated attacks require coordinated defense. Traditional tools generate alerts but leave humans to stitch everything together. While attackers are active, Microsoft Defender XDR correlates signal across identities, endpoints, email, and cloud workloads to deliver incident level visibility. Automatic attack disruption limits lateral movement using AI. While keeping the SOC in full control, this is dramatically reduces response time and impact. When detection isn't enough, automatic attack disruption takes action. Defended XDR identifies attackers' controlled assets and automatically stops lateral movement with 99% confidence. This happens in real time. Before data is encrypted or accelerated, the SOC retains full control afterward. But the damage has already been limited. This is how organizations defend themselves at machine speed, not human speed. Many tools detect attacks, Microsoft disrupts them. On average, ransomware is disrupted in 3 minutes. Thousands of incidents are disrupted every month with no customer configuration required. This is on by default and continuously improved using threat intelligence and AI. Attack disruption supports a wide range of scenarios from ransomware and BEC to malicious OAuth abuse and SAP fraud. Actions include disabling users, containing devices, revoking sessions, and blocking IPs. This coverage spans endpoints, identity apps, and third party platforms. Security must be end to end because attacks are end to end. We are entering a new era of social engineering Gen AI powered phishing emails, which are personalized, contextual, and often lack traditional red flags. Defender for Office 365 uses large language models to detect attacker intent, not just indicators. This enables 99.9% accuracy in identifying real threats, even when messages look legitimate. Attackers are shifting to collaboration tools like Microsoft Teams, impersonating IT or helpdesk staff. They trick users into approving MFA or installing remote tools. Defender for Office 365 protects teams with message scanning, URL protection, user reporting, and SOC alerting. This is essential as work increasingly moves to chat based collaboration. Defender for Office 365 delivers integrated protection across email and collaboration groups. It combines prevention, detection, investigation, response, and user training. All signals feed into Defender XDR, providing a unified view of threats. This is why it's consistently recognized as an industry leader. Let's look at us as a simulated identity attack, password spray. Without automation, IT teams manually investigate, lock accounts, and reset passwords. With Entra ID protection, risky sign-ins are detected and remediated automatically. Organizations using risk-based conditional access recover 140 times faster. Automation isn't optional, it is required. One of the most hardest parts around securing a complex modern estate is tracking attackers as they pivot from the first compromise endpoint using stolen credentials to infiltrate more endpoints and work their way towards cloud assets. Attackers weave a complex web that extends across vectors, and it's critical that protection system for endpoint and identity be deeply tied together. And organizations' identities are made up of cloud and on premises infrastructure. However, this is made more difficult by the realities of today's digital estate. Most organizations' identities are made up of cloud and on premises infrastructure. Attackers aren't just targeting human identities, they're going after workloads too. And they are looking for vulnerabilities across the entire identity system and targeting both identity infrastructure and the identities themselves. Finally, security teams are dealing with more threats than ever before. That's how Microsoft Defender for Identity, along with Microsoft 365 Defender, deliver a fully identity threat detection and response solution. Together, these bring signals from all your identity systems, whether Azure AD, on premises Active Directory Federation Services, or third party solutions. Together, where industry leads intelligence and analytics can be applied to effectively present, detect, and respond of the threat. And that's how Microsoft Defender is introduced. It compares the actual configuration of your identity system to security baselines and then provides guidance or changes that will promote better posture and security hygiene, enabling you to prevent many attacks before they happen. And with security signal from your all identity systems, Microsoft 365 Defender offers a comprehensive detection list that determines identity compromise across human and workload identities alike, making it easier to investigate and respond to identity attacks across all identity systems. No more jumping portals, missed alerts, or incomplete investigations. Because security team interacts with this data through XDR platform, Microsoft Defender. Your security team will see identity threat alerts enriched with context and signal from endpoints. Email and Office 365 and cloud are providing insight into how the attackers are moving across other vectors like endpoints, apps, network data, and more. This experience means they can spend less time gathering information and more time investigating, responding, and remediating it. Ransomware can shut down businesses overnight. Defender for Endpoint P2 protects devices with multi layered prevention and AI powered response. Disruption stops attackers before encryption, reducing business impact dramatically. Prevention plus response is what matters. Finally, let's take a look at endpoints. While identities continue to be the front line, endpoints remain one of the attacker's biggest targets, especially unmanaged devices in ransomware attacks, which are the origination of a successful attack in 80-90% of the cases. Microsoft Defender for Endpoint is our complete endpoint security platform, enabling organizations to discover and secure Windows, Mac OS, Linux, Android, iOS, and network device against sophisticated threats. MD not only covers a wide range of devices, it delivers industry leading threat protection that backed by industry experts. With MD being named a leader in Forrester's 2023 Endpoint Security Wave, Forrester's 2022 Endpoint Detection and Response Wave. It provides 100% threat protection and Magic Quadrant and delivering the successful attack remediation. This capability has been quietly disrupting real attacks for organizations since last year. In August, a ransomware attack targeting a medical research lab put lives and millions of dollars in research at stake. Fortunately, attack disruption automatically blocked the attacker, and security analysts didn't even have to lift a finger. In the last 6 months, Defender has successfully saved over 180K devices using disruption. Microsoft Defender for Endpoint will use AI to generate decoys and layers that resemble authentic endpoints profiles and other assets in your environment. This goes beyond simply honeypots. These are tailored to your specific environment. They look absolutely real. The generation and deployment of these decoys and layers happens automatically once you enable them. No additional setup or deployment of more agents or products needed. It's easier than ever to create, modify, and deploy device security policies across Windows, Mac OS, Linux with Defender for Endpoint for securing your devices. Defender provides end-to-end ransomware protection. It prevents, detect, and responds. On average, attacks are disrupted within 3 minutes, saving 94% of the targeted devices. This is security at machine speed across the entire kill chain. The Microsoft Defender Suite add-on works as a subset of the 365 E5 license that gives organizations the chance to access Microsoft's most advanced security technologies without having to pay for a full E5 license. The add-ons allow you to build your security capabilities incrementally without committing to an all-in-one solution. The add-on enables you to focus on what you need now with the option to upgrade to a full E5 license later if you need changes. Microsoft has been recognized as a leading security vendor for businesses by independent industry experts. So, having robust multi-layered protection across identity protection, advanced cyber threat protection, defenses against phishing and ransomware are critical. As you can see, Microsoft Defender's suite brings multi-layered protection across user identifying access with Microsoft Entra ID P2. So, only authorized people have access to work resources and application from anywhere, securing devices that connect to work data, protecting against ransomware and phishing attacks and safeguarding confidential documents with the right access control. For organizations already using Office 365 E3 and EMS E3, the Defender Suite adds advanced protection without starting from scratch. You gain identity governance, phishing simulations, advanced threat hunting, and enterprise XDR. This is the fastest path to maturity. Independent studies show up to 60% reduction in breach risk and 88% faster mitigation using Microsoft SIEM and XDR. Analysts regain time Tools consolidate, outcomes improve, security becomes sustainable and not reactive. Consolidation isn't just about cost, it's about clarity. Fewer tools mean better visibility, faster response, and simpler operations. Organizations save money and reduce breach likelihood and empower their teams. That's it for today. Thank you for joining today's security immersion. The threat landscape is challenging, but with the right approach, it is manageable. Security doesn't have to be complex, fragmented, or overwhelming. We're excited to help you take the next step to opt for Microsoft XDR. Thank you. And welcome with all the questions.
If you have any question, you can just drop it in the chat box, everyone, or you can also raise your hand or you can unmute yourself. Okay, I guess nobody has any question as of now. Now I'd like to take the session forward and I'd like to request Shrey to take over the session forward on the topic enhancing delivery efficiency with DevOps, automation, and CI/CD. Over to you, Shrey.
Hello everyone, I am Shri Sharma and I'm working as a DevOps engineer at BM Infotrade. So today I will talk about something that actually impact every company directly. How we can deliver faster, better using DevOps and CI/CD. If you think about it nowadays, it's not just about building a product. It's about how quickly and reliably you can deliver it to users. And honestly, where the most teams struggle. So in this session, I will walk you through how DevOps and automation help solve this problem in a practical way. So now let's understand what actually makes DevOps work in real environment. It's not just one tool or one process. It's a combination of few components working together. First is source code management. This is basically where all code lives, like Git. Every change is tracked, controlled, and managed properly. So nothing is random. Everything is structured and traceable. Then comes build automation. Earlier developers had to manually build and test code, which used to take time and also cause errors. But now everything is automated. As soon as code is pushed, build and validation happens automatically. Next is artifact management. This is where we store our final build, like Docker image or packages. So instead of rebuilding again and again, we always have ready to use and version output. After that, we have deployment automation. This is where things getting really powerful. Instead of manually deploying code, we use pipeline to deploy automatically, which means release faster, consistent, and less risky. And finally, monitoring and feedback, because deployment is not at the end. We need to continuously monitoring the application, check performance, errors, and user experience. And based on that feedback, we keep improving the system consistency. So when all these components work together, that's when DevOps actually deliver real values. So now let's talk about some we actually gain from DevOps and CI/CD. So the first thing is efficiency and speed. Earlier, a small change could take days to go live, but with automation, things move much faster. Build, test, deploy, everything happens very quickly. Then come earlier issue detection. This is very important because instead of finding bugs at the end, we catch them very early in the process. So fixing them become very easy and we avoid big failure later. Next is consistency and reliability. When everything is automated, we don't depend on manual work, which means everything deployment is done with same way again and again without mistake. Then we have scalability. As business grow, our system should also handle more user and more load. With DevOps practices, we can scale application easily without stress. And finally, metrics and visibility, which means we can clearly see that what happening in the system. We get data like performance, error, usage, and based on that, we can make better decision. So overall, DevOps is not just one tool. It's about making whole process faster, smarter, and more reliable. So now let's understand how the whole CI/CD process actually works. Think of it like a pipeline, step by step. First step is trigger. Whenever a developer makes change in code and push it, that action automatically start the pipeline. No manual work needed. Everything start on its own. Then, then come the build stage. Here the system take code and prepare it to run. It compile the code, install dependency, and create a build that ready to use. After that, we move to test stage. This is where automation really helps. Different type of test runs automatically to check if the code is working properly or not. If something fails here, the pipeline stop immediately. So we fix the issue earlier before it reaches to users. If everything is fine, then we go to deployment stage. Now application is deployed first maybe in staging, then in production environment. And this deployment also help automatically, no need for manual steps. So overall, this flow makes sure that every change is tested, verified, and deployed in smooth way. This is how CI/CD help deliver faster and fewer errors. So now let's see how we actually implement DevOps in real setup. Think of this as a complete flow from start to end. It starts with change detection, where any developer make change in code, the system automatically detect it and trigger the pipeline. After that, we move build and image creation. Here the application is built and we create something like Docker image which can run anywhere. Then some security scanning. The step is very important. We check for vulnerability or security issue in code or image. So we don't push unsafe code to production. Next is artifact storage. Whenever we build, we store it properly with versioning so we can use it anytime and even rollback if needed. After that, we go to automated deployment. Now the application is deployed automatically without manual effort. Then come monitoring and feedback. We continuously check how the application is performing, if there is a error, slow response, or an issue. And finally, the team notification. The teams get updated like success, pipeline success, failure, or alert, everything. So everyone stay informed in real time. So overall, this whole approach contains everything together: automation, security, monitoring, and teamwork. So now let's talk about something very important: security in CI/CD. Because no matter how fast we deliver, if it's not secure, it's a big risk. So first, we use image scanning with Trivi. Whenever we build an image, it automatically scans before vulnerabilities. If an issue is found, get the alert, and so we can fix it quickly. Next is secure image registry. We do not use random images. We only use only approved and trusted images in registry like Harbor, ECR, and ACR that ensure only safe images are used in deployment. This ensures that only safe images are used in deployment. Then we have secret management using Vault. Instead of hard coding password or keys in code, we store them in Vault. So sensitive data is always protected. After that comes security gateway. This is like a checkpoint. If there is a critical or high level issue in deployment, then deployment is automatically blocked. So unsafe code never reach to production. Next is environment isolation. We keep environment testing. We keep our environment different. We keep development, testing, production separate. So change in one environment don't affect the other. And finally, continuously rescanning. If even after deployment, we keep scanning image regularly because new vulnerability can come anytime. So overall security is not just one thing. It's a continuously automated and always active. So till now, we talked about speed and automation. But one more important question is how do we stay fast without compromising security? And and that's where continuous security and compliance come in. And DevOps security is not something that we do at the end. It's a run and along with the pipeline. First, we have automated security scan. Whenever code or image is built, they automatically scan. We don't slow the process and still keep things secure. Then we use private repository with version control. This ensures that only trusted and approved code is used, so no risk in unknowns or unsafe components. Next is access control and security policies. Everyone has limited and defined access. This avoids mistake and keep the system controlled. Then we have secure pipeline artifact integrity. This means we build and deploy remains unchained and unverified. So we maintain trust in every release. Also, we use centralized secret management system like Vault. Instead of managing secret manually, everything is handled securely in one place. This reduces risk of improving efficiency. And also, tools like private registry and Vault help us to maintain both speed and security. Let's move on towards some case studies. This is a case study of GitLab, where a deployment caused a major outage. That happened was a database migration is executed through the pipeline, but without proper validation. And because of that, production data got deleted accidentally. Now, if you look closely, this was not just a technical mistake. This was a process failure in CI/CD. There was no approval gateway and critical changes. So, so the deployment went ahead without checks. This is where missing validation steps in the pipeline. So no one verified if the changes are safe or not, and there are no automated backup verifications. So when things went wrong, recovery was difficult. So let's see what was the impact. The system was down for the more than 18 hours, which means users were affected, trust was impacted, and business operation hit badly. So what was the key learning here? CI/CD is not just about automation; it's about controlled and safe automation. If we had proper CI/CD practice like approval gateway, validation check, and backup automation, this issue could have been resolved. Let's look at another example. This is a case of Night Capital, where a small deployment mistake caused a huge financial loss. What happened was the deployed new trending software, but due to poor release control, old code got activated unintentionally. Now this is very important. This was not a complex issue. It was a lack of proper CI/CD control. If you see that, if you see what went wrong, this is where a manual deployment without proper automated validation. There was no strong version control across environment, and so outdated code still present in got triggered. And there was no rollback and verification mechanism. So once this issue started, they couldn't stop it quickly. Now look at the impact. It just 40 minutes, and in just 45 minutes, the company lost around $400 million. The stock price crashed, system had to be shut down, and the market reputation was badly affected. So what was learning here? Without proper DevOps CI/CD practice, even a small deployment issue can turn into massive business loss. Without proper CI/CD, we ensure with proper CI/CD, we ensure correct version deployment and validation before release, and always a rollback option. So again, DevOps is not about speed; it's about safe, control, and reliable delivery. Let's look at one more real example. This time we focused on security. This is the case of Equifax, which one of the biggest data breach in recent year. What happened was a known vulnerability is in Apache Strut was already identified, but it was not patched in production. And because of that, attacker were able to exploit it and access sensitive data. Now again, this was not just a security issue. This was a failure in CI/CD practices. If you look at what happened wrong, there was no automated vulnerability scanning in pipeline. So even the issue was known if it was not detected before deployment. There were lack of visibility in vulnerability components. So now look at the impact. Data of around 147 million users are compromised, and the company had to pay around $700 million in fines and settlement. And mostly important things, there were long-term damage in their reputation. So what was the key takeaway? In DevOps, speed is not alone enough. Security must be integrated in the pipeline. With proper CI/CD, we can automate vulnerability scanning, ensure the patch are applied before deployment, and continuously monitoring sequence system. So now let's connect everything we discussed to actual business value. Because at the end of the day, DevOps is not about tool or pipeline. It's about how it helps to business grow. First, we get faster time to market, which means we can release features quickly and respond to customer feedback. Then comes operational efficiency. Since most of the work is automated, manual effort is reduced and team become more productive. We're also getting better product quality because everything is tested, validation continuously, so users get a more stable and reliable experience. Next is enhance security and reduce risk. As we saw in this case study, security and validation help prevent major failure. And finally, business agility and scalability. Organization can grow faster, handle more user, and adapt quickly to changes. So now talk about most important point. Why does delivery speed really matter? Because in today's world, delivery speed directly impact business revenue. If you if we can move from idea to execution quickly, we can launch feature faster in the market, which means we can test idea early and get feedback and improve continuously. That's where DevOps help. It removes delay and long release cycle. Then comes increased release frequency. Instead of waiting for a big release, we deliver update continuously. So business can innovate faster, adapt quickly, and stay ahead of competitors. And another important point is reduce time to fix issue. If something breaks, we don't wait for days. We fix it quickly, deploy fast, and minimize the impact on user. So overall, fast delivery means faster innovation, faster recovery, and better customer experience. And all of this directly leads to better business growth and revenue. So finally, let me quickly share why choose BM for Trade for DevOps and CI/CD journey. First, we focus on future-ready architecture, which means the solution we design today are ready for tomorrow's scale and needs. We also follow tool-agnostic approach. We don't restrict client to one tool. We choose what fits best for their environment. Then we provide scalable and standardized framework. So as a business grow, the system grows smoothly without rework. Another important point is seamless integration. We don't replace everything. We integrate with existing system and improve them. We also ensure strong governance and visibility. So organization always know what is happening across their pipelines and environment. And of course, we focus on high availability and reliability because downtime is not an option in today's business. And finally, we help optimize costs and as well. So you get maximum value for your DevOps investment. So overall, our goal is simple: to help business deliver faster, safer, and smarter. So in the end, DevOps help us deliver faster, more reliable. Thank you, everyone.
Okay, that was it for the session. Now the floor is open for the Q&A. You can drop in your question in the chat box, or you can just raise your hand to ask your question, everyone. Okay, I guess there's no question anymore. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us today. We hope this session was insightful for you, and a special thanks to our speakers. If you'd like to explore how these solutions and our DevOps team can help you in implementing it in your organization, you can contact us. Our sales team is always available. Thank you once again, everyone. Have a great day ahead. Thank you.